Welcome back. This is lesson 2 of the Dynamic WordPress course for beginners. In our first lesson, we talked about how to install WordPress, and I got you very comfortable with navigating the WordPress dashboard. And if you recall, I talked about themes and plugins, and I also talked about what places they have in the WordPress ecosystem. For example, plugins help you to add additional functionality to your website, while themes generally help decide the look and the feel of your WordPress website, including, of course, adding some functionality here and there. Now, in this lesson, I'm going to talk about how you can set up your design system on WordPress so that you can build your page out the exact way you have it in your mind. I told you, of course, that themes can help to determine the look and feel. However, you do not have to rely on the default provisions of these themes. You can do what we call page building. Now, what page builder are you going to use? Even more importantly, what is a page builder? A page builder is simply an application that you install either as a theme or a plugin right here on WordPress that you can use to page build. You can build out your pages the way you have them in your mind using a page builder. And I'm going to show you just how this works. So in this lesson, what we're going to cover is how to set up your design system inside of your page builder and get yourself ready to build your very first page. So let's start now by going to the WordPress dashboard and clicking on plugins. We want to install our page builder. And which page builder are we going to use? Well, there are a number of options. The most popular option is, of course, Elementor. And you can find that by just clicking on Add New Plugin right here, and you can click on Search Plugins. Inside of here, I want to type Elementor. Now, once I search for it, this is what you find. Elementor Website Builder. More than just a page builder. Well, yeah, it's more than just a page builder. Now, we can click on Install now, and we can begin to install Elementor. While that is installing, I should mention a few key things to you. First off, Elementor is not the only page builder. There are a number of page builders. Some of them are right here on the WordPress repository. Others are out there on various websites created by various companies. For example, a very popular one is Bricks Builder, and this page builder is also loved by a good number of people. It's not on the WordPress repository at the time of recording this video, but it is available on the Bricks Builder website and for a fee. You have to pay some money in order to get it downloaded. However, that page builder is not a plugin, it's a theme. Elementor's approach to this is a bit different. We have a free page builder that we can make use of. When we begin to make use of it, Elementor then offers you a pro subscription. And what that means is that at some point in the future, if you need some additional functionality, you can go ahead and buy the pro plugin from Elementor and install it on your website. And that will just bring in additional functionality to your website. But you do not need the pro version. You absolutely do not need it throughout the duration of this course. And I'm going to tell you just why. For now, let's go ahead to activate the Elementor page builder that we have installed. We can click on Activate, and it's just going to go ahead and activate that. Once Elementor is activated, we have this welcome page right here. It says you're here, let's get connected. Now, it's going to ask if you want to create an Elementor account. You do not need to do this. If you want to do it, you can absolutely do it. But for me, I'm just going to click on Skip. Now it says that you need a compatible theme. Remember, a theme determines the look and feel of your website. However, since we're installing a plugin called Elementor, which claims to be able to affect the look and feel, what we need is not another theme that will interfere with what we set up here, but a theme that supports that move. In Elementor's own case, since it's a plugin, they also offer a theme, although it's blank, as you see inside of here. It's an official blank canvas theme. So it's blank. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't affect your website design in any way once you make use of the Elementor page builder to page build. So we want to do that. We want to click on Continue with Hello Theme so that it can download the Hello theme and install that for us. The Hello theme is blank, so it has no major changes once you begin to page build. Now it says that you want to elevate your website with additional pro features. This is Elementor trying to sell you the pro features now. But again, I'm just going to click on skip for now because I don't want to do that. Now, once it's done, it says welcome aboard and thank you. Now it's asking if I want to start from blank or if I want to choose a professionally designed template. I want to show you just how you can build this yourself. So if you want to choose a template, go ahead, choose a template. But for me, I'm going to start from blank. And starting from blank will afford you the opportunity to learn how Elementor works, how page building works, and what the language of web design actually is. Now, once the page loads, you see you land right inside of the builder. But for now, let's just go right out of the builder by clicking on the Elementor logo right here and clicking on exit to WordPress. Let's just leave that page for now and exit back to WordPress. We notice here that we land on another page, a page inside of WordPress that was just dynamically created by Elementor to help us begin to start editing. But we don't want to do that right now. We're just going to click on this WordPress logo and come back to the main page. You see, that is the draft page created by Elementor. We can trash that for now. Now, remember, in the previous lesson, I showed you how to make one page your home page. If you click on that right now and just view it in the front, you have your home page looking just like this. And you recall, this is a blank theme, so it really doesn't have anything inside of it. But now we want to just set up our fonts and our colors so that they look exactly the way we want them to. Let's start from our colors. How do we want our colors to be? I have a website that helps me determine what colors I want to use, but in general, what will determine what your colors are will be your design system or your brand guide. If you come inside of this website called Coolors.co, not really colors, but Coolors, whatever. Okay, I use this website to actually determine what my colors will be. And this is mostly because of the fact that sometimes I don't work with a user interface designer, other times I do. In such cases where I work with a user interface designer, they provide me with the colors, the fonts, and all of the whole design system, and then I implement that into my WordPress website. But in this case, since we just want to build a fictitious website, let's start by generating a bunch of colors for ourselves. Want to pick something that makes sense for our own case. Now, we can go to this website. You'd find the link to that website in the description below. And when you get here, I just want to click on Start the Generator. What it will do is actually begin to generate a bunch of color combinations for me to make use of. It says here, ready to see how fun and easy it is to create a color palette in colors. Yes, I want to see, and I want to click on Let's Go. Now, as you can see, it says you can hit the spacebar to generate a random color, and I absolutely want to do that. So let's close this out. And for now, I can hit the spacebar and just look at different color combinations. I kind of like what I see here. I think you do too, right? Do you? I like it. So let's try to make use of the colors we have here. If I click on export right now and just select image as what I need to export to, and I just type a title inside of here, I can download the entire palette that you see here as an image. And then we'll be able to make use of this palette to get our design done. We're getting somewhere with this. So let's just give this a title. Let's call this Fiction. Something like that should be fine. We want to call our website Fiction. That's the name of whatever brand that we're building right here. We're going to leave color space exactly as is, and we're going to click on export. But now we have Fiction downloaded right here, and we want to drag that inside our WordPress website because this is the set of colors that we choose to use on our website. So let's start there. We're going to come back to the website right now, and we're going to come inside of the media library right here. Once we select media library, remember, this is where you drag and drop images or videos or whatever is in your media. This is where you put it, and it's going to be uploaded to your server, or in this case, to a different location on my own computer. Now I'm going to click on add new media file, and I'm going to drag in that Fiction right there, the color palette Fiction. And this is nice. This is good because now we've generated a color palette for ourselves and we're going to mix and match and make use of these colors to build our website. Whatever you want to choose as your own colors for your own website is entirely dependent on you. Okay, now that we know that, we can close this out. We can close this too, and we can go right inside of Elementor. Now, to set up Elementor and to get it to work the way we want it to work, what we need to do is to come inside of the pages. Let's just come inside of pages right here. We want to open any page of our choice. Let's say the home page as an example. And we want to set things up to look the way we want them to look. And this time, while we're setting up the colors, we're also going to be setting up the fonts. So inside of the home page here, I want to click on edit. I want to edit this page. And as you can see, it wants to attempt to edit this page inside of the default WordPress editor. So let's click on edit with Elementor because we want to edit our home page with Elementor. Now, Elementor, again, is a page builder. So it means we can build out that page right now. And whatever we add to the page, when we view it in the front end, we should see it just right there. Now, on the left, you see a number of widgets right here. For example, you see a container widget, a grid widget, you see a heading widget, an image widget. You recall that when we used the default WordPress block editor in the previous lesson, I showed you how to add various blocks to the page. It's something like that too. You can add a number of different blocks or widgets, as Elementor calls it in this case, to build out the page. Now, let's try to add a number of heading widgets. What are heading widgets? They're just simply headings as you know them when you're editing a Word document inside of a word processor like Google Docs or Microsoft Word. You have a main heading for a page, so you add the H1 inside of HTML, which is the language of building out the structure of any web page. You have H1, which is the highest heading level. If you just come inside of widgets on this page right here and click on heading, once we click on that, you see it adds a heading widget to the page. If we select that heading widget right now and look on the left here, you see HTML tag, which is the heading level of that particular heading widget. In our case here, we want to select H1 for that one we added. And as you can see, the size of that heading widget increased. H1 is usually bigger in size than H2, but it's not always the case. It's just the general default browser styling. This is how it looks when you first add these HTML elements to the page. Usually when you add a heading, then you follow it with a paragraph, a text, and then you add another heading and follow it with a paragraph or a text, right? That's how you do it in Microsoft Word or Google Docs. This is how it works, right? It works the same way in web design. You need to select the HTML tag or the heading level inside of here. So let's say we want to add all of the available 6 heading levels because you notice here you have H1, H2, all the way to H6. So let's just multiply or duplicate what we have here by right-clicking on that heading widget and duplicating it. We want to duplicate that 6 times. We can right-click and duplicate. Now we have 6 of these items. Is that 6? Yes. Now for the first one, that's H1. If we come to the second one, we want to select here H2. We want to do the same for this, but this time will be H3. And also inside of here, we want to select H4. We also want to select for this one as H5 and finally H6. So we have all of the heading levels. Why are we putting it on the page? Just so that we can set up the way our design is going to look, a global design system that will help us determine how designs of various aspects of the site is going to look. Now we can also add a button widget so that we can style that to globally. Styling that globally will enable us to be able to use a button widget anywhere on the page as well as all of these heading widgets and have them look the same way everywhere, except we choose otherwise sometime in the future. So let's add a button widget right here. We're just going to type in button and we're going to drag that button widget right here. As you can see, by default, this is what it looks like, green. The headings look like this, blue, but we can change that. Don't worry. Now we can also add a simple text editor widget here, which is going to help us type whatever we want to type inside of here such as when we're writing out a blog or whatever. You know what I mean, right? But for now, let's increase the length of this paragraph text. We just want to copy this and paste this multiple times inside of here so that we can have, a good looking bulk amount of paragraph so that we can have a visual representation of how this will look for us. Once we're done with that, let's click on publish. These are not the only elements that we can style globally. There are more, definitely. But for now, these are the most important that I want us to pay attention to. Right? So let's do that. Let's come to the main page. This is the main page. Remember, we're editing the home page here. So once we refresh, we see, what do we have? We have all of the heading widgets right here, H1 through H6. And we also have a button, which we can click on, and a whole bulk of paragraph text. There's one more thing I want us to add inside of here. Let's edit inside of that paragraph text. Let's just edit one aspect of it, maybe towards the top right here. We just want to highlight any place right here, and we want to select here insert or edit link, which is going to create a link inside of this paragraph, and that will give us an idea of how our links inside each of our pages are going to look. So once we click on insert or edit link, we can type in whatever we want our link to be. In this case, let's say it's going to point to the home page. So we're going to copy the URL link right there. We're going to come back inside of here and paste that URL right there. Once we do that, we can click on this apply button right here. And now we see how the link is going to look. It looks red. Okay, now the colors are not so good. We can click on publish in the front. We can look at how it looks in the front end right here. And we see that this is red, and when you hover, it looks somewhat bluish, but we can change all of that. And this is the reason why we put all of the important elements on the page and we want to style it globally. You could, of course, in each individual case, for example, you want to select the H1 right here. You can click on style instead of changing the text right here or adjusting the HTML tag to determine the heading level. You can also come inside of the style here, and inside of typography, you can change the style settings for this particular heading level. You can click on this pencil icon right here and change things such as the fonts and other such settings. You can also adjust the color right here, which you see on the text color. Now, whatever changes you make to each of these elements individually right here will apply to that specific instance. But we don't want to have to set this up every single time we put a heading widget on the page. We want to be able to set this up in the global settings so that every time we put an element on the page, it takes on the design settings that we have previously set up. Now, let us add one more widget to this page. We can come here, down here, where we have this paragraph, this whole bunch of paragraph here. We can click on this plus icon here, just so that whatever element we add comes right after the element we just selected. So we're going to select the image element right here, or the image widget as it is called right here. We're just going to click on it, and you see it adds right below the paragraph there. Now, once we click on that image element or the image widget, we want to select what the image is. And what image are we going to select? Remember, we previously uploaded the Coolors downloaded font palette. We want to grab that from our media library. To do that is pretty simple. We're just going to select media library right here. We want to select that Coolors palette right there, and we want to click on select. Now we have that palette inside of here. We're going to take it off, but for now, it's just going to act as a reference for us to be able to pick our colors and add that to our global style settings. Now, let's click on publish, and we can come back inside of the site settings right here. And inside of site settings, we want to set up both our global colors and our global fonts. We can see both of them right here. And what that means is that whatever we set as our global colors right here, we will be able to use that over and over again throughout our website. The advantage is that if you choose to change your mind sometime in the future, you can very easily change it from one place and it changes everywhere else. This is important. Once we select the global colors, for example, inside of here, we see we have a number of global colors preset for us. For example, the blue that acts inside of the headings when we added the heading widgets. we see that that blue is what we have as a primary color right here. We also have secondary colors, the text color, which of course took eminence once we added the paragraph to the page. And we also have the accent color right here, which of course is what our button looked like. Now, if we want to, we can toggle off this show global settings right now because we want to see everything that's on our page. We have everything here on our page. We don't need to toggle on show global settings, but this is something we can do if we want to just take a look at all our global fonts and our global colors. Let's toggle that off for now. So what we have here on our home page is what we want to set up inside our site settings. Take note, we have come to the site settings page, meaning that whatever we set up inside of our site settings will affect the entire website and not just our homepage, even though we started from our homepage to land on our site settings page. Okay, now we can set up our primary color, and whatever we set as our primary color here is going to affect, as you can see, inside of our headings, is going to affect the headings, and it's also going to affect the number of other elements that we put on our website. But whenever we see these elements, we can of course change what colors appear on them on an individual basis, as I said before. Now, let's go ahead and select our very first color. What's that color going to be? This is the reason why I have my color palette right here on this page. So let's say that I want to select this green, this very deep greenish color as my main primary color. I can do just that. Let's do that. So I'm going to click on this color right here, and we could of course adjust the dial right here, come to green and then try to eyeball this and find a color that matches that, but it's not going to give us the exact color we have right here. But to do that, to actually pick that color, we can use this color sampler option in this place. Can you see it? Good. We can select that. And now we have the opportunity to click anywhere on the page, and it's going to sample the colors available on the screen, and it's going to give us the option to pick any of the colors. So let's select that. Once we click on that, as you can see, this is one color right here. You can see that's the color here. You also have this color, which is this one. You have this one, which is the color that I'm trying to select as my heading color right here. It's this color. So I'm just going to select that. And once I click on it, you take note that it has picked that color right here. And now if I scroll all the way up, you take note that all of my heading items inside of here from H1 to H6 all have the color I just selected. This is very, very good. I also need to select what the secondary color is going to be. So I'm just going to pick this second color right here as my secondary color. Let's just pick that color right now. And I'm just going to click on the color sampler again. And this time when I click on it, I want to select that secondary color, which is this one. So once I select that, you see that's the color that's now my secondary color. Keep in mind, all of the system colors, you can change their names. You can change this from primary to whatever you want. You can change this from secondary to whatever you want. It's entirely your choice. Now for text color, I'm just going to select a very dark color as my text color, maybe something like black as an example. And that should be fine for me. I don't know about you, but this is a color I would like to use as my text color. And as you can see, it affects the color of the text right here. If we adjust that to something else, you see it's also affecting that color. But let's select that dark color as my text color. And this is good for me. Now inside of accent here, which of course you see you make use of inside of a button element by default, we want to change what that is. In my own case, I'm just going to pick a different color. Now, which of these colors can I use as my button color? I'm not too sure, but it appears as though I would love to use this color right here. Again, these are global colors, meaning that I can change my mind sometime later. And in our next lesson, you see a bunch of different colors that I have chosen to change them to because I don't know, I'm not very decisive on the fly. I could ask my wife, who is a UI designer, and she could give me opinions about this, and I change them before the next lesson, so don't count on it, okay? I'm just showing you right here how to set up the colors, and you can make use of them from here on out. So for now, let's just select my color for my button right here. So I'm just going to click on this color right here. I'm going to scroll all the way down. I'm just going to select the color sampler once again. And this time I'm going to pick this last color right here, this color, and that becomes my color. Not too sure about that color, but let's just keep it that way for now. My aim is to show you just how you can implement this. You can do whatever you choose to in your own design system. Now, I can add a bunch of other colors that I can make use of everywhere on my website if I choose to. For example, I can add another color right here. I could just click on add color here and pick any color of my choice. Let's say I want to pick a color right here by using the color sampler, and I want to pick this color right here. Let's pick it, and I could use that as my global background color. So maybe I could call that global background or something like that. Selecting it as my global background color doesn't make it my global background color, but I could show you how to make that my background color. There's one more color that I have not yet selected, which is this one right here. So I'm just going to select that and call this alternate color. Whatever I want to call this here is entirely my choice. I'm just going to call this alternate color. Something like that should be fine. Now inside of here, I want to click on the color sampler once again, and I want to pick that last color right here. That's the color, ready to go. Once I'm done, I can click on Save Changes and all my colors are saved. Now it's time to select my fonts. I could come back right here, I can click on Global Fonts, and I can pick my fonts once again. For example, in my primary settings right here, if I click on this pencil icon, I can select a different font family. All of the fonts you find here are Google fonts. So whatever you find on Google Fonts, you can find right inside of here. Let's say I pick any other fonts of my choice. Let's say like this one. You see right here, it has changed that font to say what I have right here. This Rosario font is what I have inside of my heading widgets right now. But I want to use a font which I'm very comfortable with, which is the Inter font. Let's just select Inter and click on Enter. And that is the Inter font entered into this right here. Okay, good. Now we can see our font definition right now. We can choose to adjust the weight of our font, maybe change that to 800. And as you can see, the font is more bold. Or we can bring it down to 700 and it's a little less bold. I think this is good in my own case, so we're just going to leave it this exact way. Now inside of secondary, I can also select what the font is going to be. If I select secondary here, I also want to use Inter. So there are some aspects of the website that will use the primary font. There's some aspects that will use the secondary. Some would use the other text font. Whatever is the case, I want to use Inter for them all. You can use whatever font you choose in your own situation. Try and mix it up, mix and match it, see how it looks for you. But in my case, I'm very comfortable with using this. So I'm just going to select this everywhere. Inside of text here, which is this one right down here, you see it uses Roboto. I want to change that to Inter so that the text is also Inter. And now that's Inter. It looks good. I can come inside of accents right here, and I also want to select Inter. I want to select that, and as you can see, that makes change to the button widget right here. So the button also takes the accent font definition. Now that we have all of that set up, how about the font sizes which we talked about? Keep in mind that we have the flexibility of adjusting the font size based on the device size. So for example, on the desktop, which you can see at the top right here, which we're currently editing, this is how the font size is going to look. If you come down to tablet, you see this is how it's going to look. If you come down to mobile, you see this is how it's going to look. And in case you've not noticed already, it looks really ugly on mobile. The H1 all the way to the H6 look really big on a mobile device. You can use this to adjust and see how the headings are going to look, and they look really big on a mobile device. We can, of course, set the font size on an individual basis for each of these device breakpoints, as they're called. So on desktop, you can set a font size. On tablets, which is what you have here, you can also set a font size, and then you can set a font size on mobile. But here is what many smart people have decided to do. Instead of coming back here inside of typography here, and that's inside theme style, and then coming inside of H1 all the way to H6 here and specifying what the font size is, they do something else. They do something very smart. But let me show you what happens by default. If you come inside of here, the typography settings here, and come down here to where you have the H1, for example. Let's say that on the desktop, which is the current breakpoint that we're on, as you can see at the very top right there, you want the typography to be a certain size. Let's say you want it to be 45 as the size in pixels, or you want to change the size unit here and specify rem and say you want it to be 3 rem. Now, these various units mean different things inside of web design, and I'm not going to delve into that right now, but just keep in mind we have options such as pixels, EM, REM, VW. What I need you to do is to take your very first homework home. And when you find out the answer to my question, simply leave that in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to let you know if you're right or if you need additional assistance to find out the answer. The question is this: why do we need to use rem to specify what our font size should be? You need to find that out and let me know in the comment section below. However, I am going to tell you that you actually do need to use a rem value right here. So let's say we specify 3 rem as the font size on desktop. And then we come to our tablet size here and we see we still have 3 rem. So what we need to do in most situations will be to come inside of here again, since of course this would change depending on the device size that we specify here. Let's say we need to change this inside of here from 3 rem and we want to put inside of here 2 rem. So on desktop is going to be 3. As you can see, it's big. If we come to tablet here for the H1, pay attention to the H1. You notice here that it is smaller. If we come to the mobile here, you see it's still a bit big, so we can adjust that a little more. Let's say we want to change that again. We're going to come inside of here. You can see, as indicated by this device icon right here, that you can change this particular setting for the various device breakpoints. So for desktop, we change that. For tablets, we change that. Now on mobile, let's say we want to select rem again, which you have to do a homework and find out why we're using rem. And we want to specify here, let's say 2 rem, or let's say 1 rem on mobile. So you see the H1 right here is very small on mobile. If you come to desktop, it's very big. And some people would say this is good because we can set what our font size is on desktop, and then we'll be able to set what it is on tablet, and then we'll be able to set what it is on mobile. But I believe that is a lot of work. That is a lot of work. And why? Because of the fact that you have to do this for every single one of the heading levels right here. And that is very, very time consuming, especially when you intend to change what the font sizes are. Then you have to go back to H1, adjust the font size so that it's bigger than H2 and adjust for H2, and it just gets very complicated this way. Plus, there is another reason why this is not a smart approach to getting this done. Once we click on Save Changes now, we can come to our front end. Let's just refresh and see how things look for now. Pay attention just to the H1 alone. We're just going to right click and click on Inspect. Now, what we have opened here is the browser inspector. Don't get scared by the code you see right here on the page. It's not too much for us to handle. We're not even going to pay attention to it right now. What we need to pay attention to is the responsive settings, which you can find right here. Once you hover and click on Toggle Device Toolbar, which you have inside of this icon right here, once you click on that, you see that you can now adjust how this website is going to look on various device size widths. Now, if we want to, we can click on these 3 dots right here and we can put this right below. And the reason for putting it below is because we need more space on the right and on the left. Now, if you take note right here on the biggest screen, you see the H1 is actually really big. If we try to reduce the size of this screen right here, you see it just jumps from being big to being a bit small for the tablet. Let's see that again. If you come down, you see it jumps, you come up, it jumps again. But this is generally not a good practice because if you have a device that is this size, then this is the font you're going to have for it. But if you have a device that's just a little bit smaller than it, then you have a font size that is too small for this width of device. Now, if you keep coming all the way down, At some point, you see the main heading right here, the H1, has now become too small for a device that will be this size. Now, to solve that problem is what we know as something called a clamp function. Now, take it from me, this will be the last complicated thing I say in this lesson, but I will make it quite simple for you to understand. Our clamp function is just mathematics, and we're going to use a website to help us create the formula and then go ahead to give us the value as a result of that formula. Now, just so you can understand, the clamp function is a simple function that helps you to scale your font size based on your device size width, so that your font size is never really too small for your phone size screen or too big for your desktop size screen. I hope you understand. If you don't, I'm going to demonstrate that to you right now. To help us to solve this problem is a website called fluidtypescale.com. It's a free website that you can definitely make use of to get this done. Once you land on this website, you may be overwhelmed by the amount of information right here, but do not be, because what I'm about to show you is a very simple way to get up and running with what a clamp function is, as you can see inside of here. It's a clamp function that is being generated. Now, let me just show you how to get this done. If you come inside of here, you see that you have to specify a minimum font size. And generally, 1 rem is equal to 16 pixels. And there's a whole understanding as to why you should not go lower than 1 rem for your smallest font size. So we're going to leave it as that. Our smallest or base font size on our mobile is going to be 16 pixels or 1 rem. Now on our desktop, our base font size or our smallest font size, in this case, we could adjust the value. So we're just going to select here 18 pixels. So on desktop, 18 pixels, which is a little bigger than it will be on mobile. So if you're reading this paragraph, which you have right here on your website, right here, and you look at it on desktop and you come down to mobile and look at the same paragraph right here, it's going to be a little bit smaller than it currently is. So let's come back here. We can set these as 18 pixels or 19 if you so desire. And then we need to set our screen width. Now, to set this up, we would either rely on one of two options. One, we could rely on the brand guide that a user interface designer gives to us. But in our case, we're going to rely on averages. So we're just going to search on Google for the average mobile resolution, just like this. And here we see an AI overview that tells us that a small one, as you can see here, is 360 pixels by 800 pixels. You also have bigger averages right here, and those should be fine. But we want to rely on the smallest average right here, just so that anybody who is making use of a very small mobile screen will be able to see our website just as well. So let's select 360 as the golden number right here. 360 is fine. Now, inside of the maximum for desktop, we can also select the screen width. Let's also select the average desktop resolution right here and see what we have. We have 1920 pixels by 1080 pixels. So 1920 is the width. We want to select that too. We want to come back inside of the fluid type scale calculator right here and just paste that right there. Now, we can leave every other thing as is if we desire to do that, and just come all the way down here and see how things are set up. As you can see, you can adjust the device screen width right here. If you adjust this to 1920 pixels, which is the biggest, you see how big it's going to look on that screen. If you adjust this all the way to 360, which is the smallest, you see how this is going to look on that screen. So you can very easily tell that this will be the H1, this will be H2, this will be H3, H4, H5, and H6. And the H6 here is going to be the same as base, which we're going to use as our paragraph text too. Stay with me. Don't go anywhere. Stay with me. Now, once we have all of this set up for us, we can very easily change the type scale ratio. What the type scale ratio is just pretty much a multiplier that just tells us how big the difference or how small the difference between each size is going to be. For example, the difference between this and this would be a number of multiplier value. That's the multiplier value that we are adjusting right here. In most cases, I could just delete this right now. And once I click on it, you see all of the general known global multipliers. These multipliers are agreed on by hundreds of thousands of designers and developers all over the world. And right now, they're just the go-to multipliers for when you want to decide how big or how small your font size is going to be. There is a mathematics to this thing. And here is the calculation. You don't need to know the formula. This form is going to help you calculate it. And I'm just going to show you how to make use of it inside of Elementor. Okay, now we can set the type scale ratio right here by just simply selecting, in our case, in most cases, I like to use the major second for my mobile device. So I can select that right there. For my desktop, let's just delete that. I can click on it again and see what I want to use for my desktop. If I click on it, you see all of the exact same multipliers right here. And I could, since I selected 1.125 for my mobile, I could select 1.25 for my desktop. And once I select that, I can come all the way down. I can see how this is going to look on mobile. You can see the smallest device screen width right now is 360 pixels. And so the H1 is going to look exactly like this on this smallest screen width. Now, as you adjust this and scale this all the way up, so as your screen size gets bigger, all the way to 1920 pixels or higher, this is going to be the highest font size for our H1 and our H2 and our H3 and so on. All that is left is for us to take the calculated clamp function and then make use of it inside of Elementor. Now, you can apply this to whatever is your design system or whatever page builder that you choose to use. If you're not using Elementor and you chose a page builder such as Bricks or whatever else page builder that you chose, this will work the exact same way. Now, since we have all of these font sizes inside of here, we can then make use of it inside of Elementor. But first, let's open a simple notepad such as this. And we want to copy what we have here. And then we want to paste that inside our notepad. Our aim here is to remove these parts, all of the parts here that says double hyphen, FS and SM and all of this. We want to remove that and also remove the semicolon at the end. We want to delete that. We also want to do that for every single one of this. Let's just remove that, just like that. Remove it one by one until we get to the end. Good. Here is what we have. We have H1, we have H2 right here, we have H3 right here, we have H4 right here, we also have H5 right here, we have H6 right here, which will also be our paragraph text because generally in most design systems, the H6, the smallest heading level, is also usually the same size as the paragraph text. So we're going to use that for both the H6 and the paragraph text. And then we have the last one here, which is a very small font size. We could use that for making some design aesthetics work the way we want on our website. This is entirely our choice. We could choose not to use it. We could choose to use it too. So let's start from the largest one here, the H1. We're just going to copy that. We want to come back inside of our website right here. We want to come inside of the site settings. Inside our site settings, if we're not already there, we want to come inside here to global fonts. Now inside of global fonts, we want to add new custom font. Now when we add the new custom font, we're going to call this heading 1, we're going to call heading 2, heading 3, and so on. So let's add the first one. The first custom font, we're just going to call this heading 1 or whatever else we want to call it. Once we select that, we want to select this pencil icon right here, and inside of size, instead of selecting rem this time, we're going to select this pencil icon right here. And when we select that, we want to paste inside of there what our clamp function is. Remember, our reason for doing this is so that we don't have to set a font size for every single device size. We just set the font size once, and that can scale up and down depending on the device size width. Okay, Let's paste that clamp function inside of here. So for our H1, our clamp function is right there. Good. Once we select that, we click out of it, our heading 1 is good to go. We can of course make use of things like the weights and change things like the style and decoration. Play around with these settings, tell me what you find. But for now, let me click out of it and I want to add another one. I'm just going to add here heading 2. Also, like I did before, I'm going to select this pencil icon right here. Inside of the size, instead of selecting pixels or rem or whatever, I'm just going to select this pencil icon right here. And again, I'm going to bring up my notepad. I'm going to grab that clamp function right there for the H2, and I'm going to paste that inside of my size. I'm going to repeat this for all of heading 1 through 6. Okay, I'm done. Now we have all of heading 1 through 6 and also the paragraph text which I added, which is exactly the same as heading 6 right here, except that you can choose to change the weight of the font, that is, make it more bold or a little less bold depending on the size. It's your choice. But for now, after setting up all of these fonts, we have these as our custom font sizes. We can click on Save Changes. Now, if we come to the main page right here, you can choose to select any of the heading widgets, as you can see right now, and you can come inside of the style settings right now, and inside of typography, you can change the typography settings for that particular heading widget to, let's say, heading 5. And when you do that, what really happens is that now it looks like a heading 5, but it actually is a heading 1, because if we come back inside of content, you can see inside of HTML tag, it is still heading 1, but now it looks like a heading 5. So now you have various font sizes to play with that you can then use to specify how you want your headings to look. But how about the global settings for all of the heading items right here? Because what we know right now is that this is not making use of the clamp function. In fact, if we click on publish and we come to the front end and just refresh this, we can now right click and click on inspect. Let's see how things are looking. We select this responsive settings right here. Again, just so we can simulate how these font sizes are going to look on different device size widths. We can adjust this and see how things are looking. Is it increasing while I'm increasing the device size width? No, it's not. In fact, when I get to a certain level, such as here, we see it jumps. The heading 1, which we previously set, has jumped. And if we adjust it, we see it just keeps jumping. It's not actually adjusting based on the device size width. To get that to work, we need to come back inside of our settings right here. We want to come back inside of site settings. And inside of here, we want to come to typography settings. Inside of our typography settings, we now want to apply the global typography that we have previously created. So we're going to come inside of heading 1, for example, and instead of clicking on the pencil icon here and manually setting what this heading size is going to be, we're instead going to use the customized global fonts that we have previously set, which is what? We can easily set this using the global icon right here by just clicking on this custom global icon. And here we can select heading 1. Once we select heading 1, we see that is what is applied to the H1 right here. If we come down here to heading 2, we select here, we select heading 2. We see that's what's applied to heading 2. We can do for heading 3 and repeat the same steps for all the rest of them. Let's select for heading 4. We want to set for heading 5 and finally for heading 6. Now we have this set for all of the various heading levels. If we click on Save Changes right now, we can come to the front end. Let's refresh this and see how things are looking. If we increase this, what do you notice? You notice very smoothly that the heading sizes are changing based on the size of the device width. Let's keep reducing this and you see what's happening here to our heading sizes. You see it keeps getting smaller and smaller as the device size width reduces. And this is very, very, very good. We can close that out now and we're done setting the values for all of our heading sizes. We can come back now inside of the editor, and if we choose to, we can come inside of the body the body, which of course is going to constitute also the paragraph right here. And we can select inside of typography right now, we can select the paragraph text. And we see that is what is applied as the paragraph text right here. If we click on Save Changes right now, and we come to the front end once again, and we refresh this, we see that the size has slightly increased because if you recall, we set 18 pixels for the desktop and 16 pixels for the mobile. Now, again, if we right click on Inspect, and we come all the way down here, you take note of what is happening also to the paragraph text right here. You may not notice because it may be very, very small and almost insignificant. As we increase in device size width, you notice very quickly that the font size is also increasing. Now we have done most of what we need right here. We can very easily remove all of the elements we've added to our homepage and then begin to build out our website. In our next lesson, we're going to do just that. And this right here brings us to the very end of lesson 2 of this course. In lesson 3, the next lesson, we're going to be talking about page building in WordPress part 2. And in that lesson, we're going to be building out our entire homepage from header to the body of the page to the footer of the page. And if you're getting confused by just saying these terms, don't worry. Hold your horses. We're going to do just that in lesson 3. Now, let me know in the comment section below if you really are gaining value from this course. If you're having questions along the line, don't worry. All your questions will be attended to. My name remains Tobi Salami, and I'll see you in the next lesson.